Hey guys, how are we doing? Crypto Insight UK here, bringing you back into the video. And today, I'm just going to try and keep this short and sweet because my thoughts haven't really changed too much. Basically, I'm sorry also if you can hear the people hammering next door, it's doing my head in. Basically, what we can see is we're still caught in this downtrend, and this is across the board. We're still caught in this like short-term downtrend, which is apparent for XRP, apart from Bitcoin, obviously, which you can kind of use as an anomaly, and we'll get into that in a second. This is XRP. Short-term downtrend since its highs in early Jan, and we're stuck below that trend line, basically looking to see if this liquidity is going to get taken below us. My obvious opinion is that it is. Oh, that's obviously Bitcoin. We'll just get back to that in 1 second. My opinion is that it is. I'd like to see that before we move up. It would make our journey to the upside much better and much easier to navigate if we do get that liquidity flush. Now, charts are never easy, so I'm not saying that it's going to definitely give us that. We could still do something like this, fake us up, come down, and then go. Charts love doing something like that to really test everybody. Everyone in this part would be screaming, yay, we're going to the upside, and then they'd be like, oh no, we're actually going into a bear market, it's a fake out, and then we go actually to the upside. With that being said, if you take this scenario and then, or this scenario, whatever scenario you take, what you can clearly see is, let's just show you, past this point, and it's not a time date, it's just like a structural date, but past this point, it's bullish. That's what I've been trying to say to everyone. Yes, this short-term chop we're trying to work out, and that chop has quite a lot of variance in it. Like, for example, if we do go and take the highs, could be 15% to the upside, could even be 23 if it really wants to trick us. But we could also see 15, potentially 20% to the downside as well. So that is quite a large range. However, the thing that I want to make clear to everyone, with that being said, the next phase for me, I'm going to show you XRP on the daily time frame just to show you a bit more obviously, is another parabolic expansion, probably up towards the $8 to $12 region, which from here, from just this level itself, is a 500% to $12, 300-ish% to $8, and that is clear across the board for me. That's what I think is happening next. I think for XRP, for Bitcoin, sorry, we move up to the next phase. We probably have a correction along the way, but realistically, the next phase is between 180,000 and probably 220. Low targets of 150, which is between a 50% move and this is ish, I'm not measuring accurately, 80 to 105% move. So the risk to reward of buying altcoins here is pretty good. I think it's a good time to be dollar cost averaging into your favorite alts, keeping a tiny bit of dry powder on the table for the potential of that flush, which I do think is coming. But I do also think that if we chop around in this area, there is more likely than not probably going to be a relief rally at some point, which is fucking long because it's not what we want. We want to get this flush done and then go. As I said, then I'll be much more confident on the rally. But until then, I can only say what I see. And if we look at Bitcoin, Bitcoin actually right now is having a little bit of a breakout from this range that it's been stuck in for days. This is a continuation pattern, a wedge like this. It should be descending because we've come down into the pattern, but like it should be like this, look, and continuation. But yeah, looks like we're breaking to the upside. Bitcoin does like to do this sort of thing. But I do think it's delaying the inevitable. I do think we may even come up to 115 before then coming down, and that would be even more long. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. The thing is, and I always do say this to you guys, some people win their leverage positions. Some people win their leverage positions, and they're the ones who are cheering when it goes to the upside. They could be in this leverage, and they could be saying thank you very much, and we may never touch it. That's possible. It happens every single time we do move up, especially in a bull market. And the other thing you've got to take into consideration if we look at Bitcoin is when you move into these deep areas of liquidity, so if we did take that 114, you do continue to see that perpetual squeeze to the upside as in this case, short positions get stopped out, and that squeezes you to the next short position, and that creates that like parabolic expansion. So are we going to get that? Is that the time that we're at now? I honestly don't know. I do feel like the longer we chop at this range without seeing the flush, the less likely the flush is. But I also know there's a lot of deviance and a lot of different things that happen at these levels. Just looking at we'll look at ETH quickly on the liquidity pools. Nothing's changed for ETH. Let's just take us to the hourly first, and then I'll show you the rest. Nothing's changed. Massively dense liquidity below us at 2.2. We're actually right now at range highs. There is a potential that we do like that Bitcoin just steals liquidity, starts to push up, and it steals liquidity from alts, and alts pull back. And that would make me more bullish if we did something like this. And I'll show you why I think that this is a potential. It's an outside chance because it takes quite a lot of like different dynamics for it to work. So Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin steals the dominance, takes us up into this region between like 66 and 74%. We steal the dominance here, but we steal that liquidity from alts. So as Bitcoin runs up, so Bitcoin could be running up to, if we use the liquidity pools to give you the example, Bitcoin could run up towards the liquidity that's clearly above us on Bitcoin, deep liquidity above us up here. Bitcoin starts to make that rally while alts stay still or even lose market cap. We've not seen that for a while. And then at this point, Bitcoin actually reverses and everyone thinks what's going on. And this is alt season. This is when alt season could kick in here. Bitcoin loses dominance. We start to see the market cap bleed off from Bitcoin into alts. And whilst Bitcoin was doing that to the upside, I don't know if I can do a comparison screen here, but I'll show you actually on TradingView in a second. So whilst Bitcoin was doing that, alts, for example, will use XRP in this scenario. And as I said, this isn't a highly likely scenario because it does take quite a lot for this to happen in terms of market dynamic shift. Alts bleed out against Bitcoin, take the liquidity below us, and then as Bitcoin tops, alts bottom, they start to get the liquidity rotation from Bitcoin into alts, and then they start to outperform, and that's when Bitcoin dominance comes down. So if I can I show 3 charts on it? I don't know if I pay enough for TradingView to show 3. No, I can show 2. So what we'll do is, we'll look at Bitcoin on the left. We'll look at Bitcoin on the right, actually. Bitcoin, and then we'll look at XRP, so I can show you how this would look if this happened. I'm not saying it's going to, but it's just something to potentially watch. Let's just see if this one's got no drawings on, just so it can make it a bit more clear. Okay, cool. This Bitcoin chart's got loads of drawings on. Let's just try, and I don't even know what I've drawn on this Bitcoin chart here. Just take us to daily. Take us to daily here. Cool, and let's get rid of these drawings. Do I want to get rid of them? Let's just see what I've got drawn in here. I was showing, yeah, we can get rid of that because I can just draw that back in quite easily. Remove drawings. So let's just get zoomed in so that these charts look similar. On the left, we've got Bitcoin. On the right, we've got XRP. What we could see is, and we haven't seen for a while, is Bitcoin really take the lead, and it takes that liquidity for some reason away from alts. Maybe we see like a strategic reserve bill introduced and nothing mentioned for alts, and so everyone loses faith a little bit. Oh, alt season's never come in. Bitcoin dominance is going to show you Bitcoin dominance in this sort of situation. BTC.D, Bitcoin dominance would be here, like going up into this area, maybe the 1.618 as like XRP, for example, is at 187, and then a reversal in Bitcoin dominance as Bitcoin takes that liquidity above us, and that's when alts really start to get going, and you probably see like a cascade fast to the downside for Bitcoin dominance, and maybe Bitcoin just slowly loses some market cap. Maybe Bitcoin's price action goes more like this, like towards its liquidity here, and then boom, everything starts to go together. Bitcoin dominance still starts to fall, and alts rally into the sunset. That's a potential. I do still think my base case is first we do take the liquidity, sort of. I don't know where we come down from, but look, alts aren't breaking their swing highs currently, although XRP is starting to get more liquidity above us. I'm so bad at drawing. XRP is starting to get the more liquidity above us, so maybe we do the fake out that we've talked about. But we're still not breaking our recent swing highs currently for altcoins. So my base case is still that we come down to take this. But if you are just looking to add spot to your positions, it's not a bad time to be adding right here. Sorry, I just clicked Cardano. I meant to click ETH. It's not a bad time to be adding right here. Look, Cardano's having a bit of a rally. That's interesting. I didn't actually see that, but I'll look at that in a minute. That's basically my thought rates. But even ETH, look, ETH hasn't yet broke its recent swing highs. Like, we're still technically chopping. Oh, for God's sake, my drawings are so bad. That we're still holding below these highs. This is actually probably not a bad place to go short because the risk to reward's pretty good. You can put your stop loss up at like, just give it a bit of space up to say like 2,578 and put your take profit down at 2.2. They're the sort of like positions that you probably want to be looking at, for example. Like the risk to reward on that sort of position is massive, 8 to 1. Range highs, continuation, like pullback, continuation, pullback. That's what I'd be expecting. That's my base case. But yeah, I've just discussed a few different things for you there. As I've been saying, unless you're trading, this is a buy, this is a buy, this is a buy. If we pump, great. Probably not a buy, just to sit on your hands. And if we get these levels, that's where I'm putting the last bit of my dry powder in. 2.2 for ETH, 1.8 for XRP. It's 180s-ish, 190 maybe. Start like chipping in there as well. And the same for other alts as well. I actually bought some ENA yesterday just because I'm not the all-seeing eye. I don't know if I'm going to be right. I don't know if I'm going to be wrong. I'm just showing you exactly what I think. I bought, I'd say, of all the liquidity that I had left, I'd say I put 20% in yesterday into ENA. And it's up a little bit today, but it's just look like whether it's up today or not. Like right now, I'm not trying to time it like a god or anything. I just thought, well, there is a chance I'm wrong. We've been chopping at this price for a while. The structure looks all right because we're actually making a little bit of a higher low potentially. And I'll just have a little dabble in case I am wrong. Or in case we have a relief rally. If we have a relief rally and we go up to like these sorts of levels, I'll probably drop some of the bag. Say thank you very much. Like half my bag, have a risk-free trade. Then if it does continue to go up, then that's great. If it doesn't, then it's no problem. But that's just so I can show you that even I did actually chip away a little bit yesterday, and it's still not a bad time to do so today. Ultra at a great price. There's a few different scenarios that could happen there. I'm going to get more in depth into a bit of that in the newsletter. I also think the macro has the catalyst to shove us down with the wars, obviously. But after that, the upside is so large that it almost can't be ignored. So trying to gain these extra few percentages is a difficult game, but the upside is where we should be looking now. Hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Please do subscribe if you did. Like and share it with a friend. If you've got any questions, please let me know in the comment section below. If you do want to take any leverage trades, I will link to WEX and MEXC in the description below. Peace up, A-Town down, as Crypto Insight UK would say.